Hey, how are you? I'm so excited. I haven't seen you for way too long. Well, where are they? Let's get these plants into the garden. Over here? On the porch. Oh my God, they are so adorable. Look, they're so cute and little. You were smart to start them inside. Now they're all grown up and ready to be outdoors in the garden. I'll get these trays, and can you get those? Okay. To the garden. Wow, it looks great. I like the beds you put in. It looks like the cover of a seed catalog. Very nice. No, it does. It looks great. So, how far apart do these get planted? Okay. Like about here? Perfect. Yes, I will take a trowel. Thank you. So, how have you been? I've barely heard from you recently. Really busy? Oh yeah? And tired? Aw, I'm sorry. What's been keeping you so busy? Wow, you've been doing a lot. You're always so involved with your community and friends and family. I feel like you're always helping someone else. How do you ever find time for yourself? It's difficult, I'll say. Do you feel like you get enough time for yourself? It's hard to tell. Is it though? You've got to have limits at some point. You're just one person. You can't be there for everyone all of the time. Not even just helping people. I mean, doing anything for people takes energy. Even just hanging out or listening to them talk. There has to be a balance, you know? Otherwise, it could start to weigh on you. Does life seem overwhelming to you a lot of the time? Do you burn out easily? Like where you get to a point where everything is too much and you feel like you can't do anything else and you just crash? So you go all the way to your limits and only pull back when you can't go on? That sounds really exhausting. It is? I bet. Can you hand me that other tray of seedlings? Thank you. Do you feel relieved when people cancel plans on you? Sometimes? Why? Because you didn't want to go? Sometimes you want to spend time alone or do other things? That makes sense. So it's not always that you don't want to go. You just don't have the extra energy. Have you been really stressed out? Hey, if you need a day to just chill, I can leave. It won't hurt my feelings. We can hang out another time. Are you sure? I don't stress you out? Yay, I'm glad to hear that. I wouldn't want to stress anyone out. It's just certain people that are hard to be around? What, like they're mean to you or not necessarily? Yeah, some people can be really frustrating. Does that happen a lot? That you're disappointed in the things people say or the stuff they do? Just certain people. You dread having to spend time with them? Why? Oh, so it's like the same thing they do over and over again. That would be frustrating. And you've talked to them about it? And they still act like that? So what do you do? Try to avoid them? But it doesn't work. People are tricky because we can't control what anyone else does. It's not your job to make sure they act a certain way. That is their responsibility. Yeah, they may never change, but you don't have to put up with that and just deal with it. What's that like, having to be around people who treat you like that? They're only thinking about themselves, huh? Is it like they're okay with you being unhappy as long as they're happy? So they don't really care how you feel. That's awful. Yeah. I'm sorry you're being treated that way. What do you mean you're good at it? I've known you for a while. I know you're strong and that you can handle a lot. But just because you can handle a lot doesn't mean you should, or that you owe that to anyone. No, you don't. You don't. Why would you say that? Why do you think you need to say yes to people? You feel bad if you say no? You feel bad about what? If someone needs help and you aren't able to help them, they'll find somebody else. Hopefully someone who's in a better position to help them. That's not always on you. Some people expect it. Yeah, that happens. If you're the person they've always come to for support or to talk to, I could see how they would get used to that. But that doesn't mean you have to be ready and willing to help every time. Some people won't understand. But you can't make them understand. That's something they have to do for themselves. Have you ever tried saying no in the past? What happened? They got angry. They pretended like you said yes anyways. They said they forgot you already told them no. Whoa, that sounds frustrating. Or you think sometimes it's just easier to say yes and deal with that? Maybe in the short term, but in the long term, it's just going to keep happening. Do you ever daydream about leaving all this behind? No, like running away. Like, do you think about telling someone off and then leaving and just not being around them anymore? You are a kind, caring, helpful, wonderful person. Yes, I know that for a fact. You've been there for me when I was dealing with tough stuff. If you've had to deal with difficult things alone, and you didn't have anyone who cared who was there to help you, it makes sense that you don't want anyone else to feel that way either, because you know how much it hurts. So your instinct will be to help anyone who asks, to make sure they're not suffering like you did. That's not a bad way to feel, to want people to be happy and okay. But it's also important for you to be happy and feel okay. Have you been setting boundaries to support yourself? If you're always there for people, if you're always doing what they ask, it's easy to give too much. It's like over-harvesting an herb. If you take the leaves all at once, it can't keep growing, and then there will be no more leaves for anyone. You have to take just a few leaves at a time and give it a chance to recover. Speaking of herbs, look how cute this little rosemary is. The leaves are so tiny. It's amazing how teeny tiny plants can grow into big, healthy plants. Setting boundaries isn't always easy, and it's not a one-time thing. If people are used to having unlimited access to you and your time, they may have trouble adjusting. That can seem like more trouble, yeah. But if you stick with it, eventually it will pay off. I used to say yes to everyone and be there for them at all times, even when I really needed a break. This would go on for a while until eventually I was all burned out and I'd get mad and frustrated that they pushed me so far. But the truth was, I never told them when enough was enough. If I kept saying yes, they assumed I really meant it and that everything was fine. It was pretty unfair for me to not look after my own needs and then get mad at them for it. I had to learn how to take care of myself and monitor what I needed to be healthy. Boundaries are not for other people. They're for you. They don't need to understand or agree with your boundaries. You're just telling them what your limits are. And yeah, we can't control what other people do. We can't make them respect our boundaries. It's up to them if they want to play by the rules or not. But if people don't respect my boundaries, I limit my interaction with them. You said when you've tried setting limits before that people have ignored what you said or claimed they just forgot about it. So what do you do when they won't listen? Oh, how do you enforce it? Timing can help and be important. There are better and worse times for setting a boundary. Ahead of time is great, and it's usually more effective than catching someone in the act of overstepping and then having to correct them after the fact. You want to give them a chance to make the right choice. That's the goal, is that we all respect each other's needs and no one gets taken advantage of. And it's not about making a judgment or getting someone in trouble. It's just stating a fact. You can say, this is the boundary, and this is what happens when it's crossed. You're not bargaining, you're just giving them a heads up of what will happen if they don't listen. And don't apologize for it. There is nothing to apologize for. You're being helpful and fair by letting people know what you're up for and what you're not. Here's one that comes up a lot for me. I don't stay up late at night because if I do, it makes me feel really sick that night and the next day. So in order to look out for my health, if someone needs help with an event that runs late, I'll say I can get there early and help set up, but I won't be there late to help tear down. Could I stay up late and survive? Sure. But I don't want to feel sick. So I set up a boundary that I won't be out late. If I let them know ahead of time, we can both plan for it. People might still ask me to stay late, sure. They'll say, can't you just stay 20 more minutes? What's the big deal? And it's hard to say no. It's hard to stand up for myself. But I have to say, I told you when I'd be leaving, and I'm leaving right now. People will often try to push your boundaries to see if they can get away with it, but you've got to stick to your word. And if I say, no, I can't stay late, they'll just ask someone else who can stay late, and then everyone wins. I don't think most people are trying to be pushy. They're just asking if I can help, and sometimes I can't, and that's okay. Oh yeah? Some people are really pushy. What would they say to you? Oh, where they deflect the conversation and try to bring up something you did to change the subject? Okay, so like if I said, I can't stay late, they might say, well, I helped you move, so now you need to stay late and help me. That's two different things we're talking about. If someone helps you, that's kind of them, but it doesn't mean you owe them. And if they wanted to talk about how they helped you, they could, but it wouldn't affect the boundary of not staying late. Those are two different conversations. But yeah, some people will avoid it to try to get around your boundary or make you back down. Look at that butterfly right there, the orange one. Aw, butterflies are so pretty. They taste with their feet? Really? That's so cool. I've never heard that before. Huh. Setting a boundary is rarely a one-time thing. It takes repetition and sometimes consequences. It stresses you out. I'm sorry. If you're not used to doing it, it can be really tough. I hate when people are mad at me, but I can't control that. If they're gonna be mad, that's their choice. What if they don't listen? If they don't listen, and they've shown they aren't gonna listen, I limit the time I spend around them. Yeah, it's a real bummer, but some people make that choice. They may not care about your boundaries, and they know what the consequences are, and that's their decision. Sometimes not being around each other is the best outcome for everyone when it's stuff like that. Why would you feel bad? You are a good friend. Having needs doesn't make you a bad person or a selfish person. Someone has to take care of you. Might as well be you. No one else is going to know exactly what you need, except you. Well, it takes practice. If you've been saying yes to everything, and people are used to you saying yes to everything, having limits will be an adjustment for everyone. People who care about you will understand, and they'll even be relieved, probably. It's wonderful to see someone taking care of themselves. And the people who don't get it, that's something they'll have to come to terms with in their own time. They might push back, or they might want to support you. I'm sorry you're struggling with that now. It seems like you can always tell what other people need and how to help them, but you're not as practiced with yourself. I'm proud of you, though. Yeah, it's not easy to make changes. I'm glad you're figuring this out so you can get more balance in your life. You're gonna do great. And done. There. The plants look wonderful, all settled in their new home. You're kind of like a plant. No, I mean, like, it's an adjustment to be somewhere new, but once their roots take hold, they'll thrive out here where they have more space to grow. You're making changes that aren't easy, but they're going to give you the space to grow. Of course. I love being able to see you. You know, you are doing an amazing job. You really are. You're doing your best. And you deserve to be happy. And you deserve to take care of yourself. Do you have more things we can plant? Strawberries! Yes! Let's do it. They have the coolest leaves. They're all jaggedy. You know you're an amazing person, right? I'm so happy to be your friend. I know you said you feel kind of bad right now, but I hope eventually you won't feel bad about setting boundaries and standing up for yourself. You'll still be a nice person. You just won't be running on empty all the time anymore. And the people who care about you, like me, we're really going to support you in that. I just want you to be happy. I'm sorry that other people weren't willing to treat you with the respect you deserve. Thanks for having me over. Whenever I hang out with you, I always leave feeling refreshed. I like that. And I think you're a pretty great person.